morning. My old buddy Chris Carter is up.
Let's go.
He just tweeted at me. Jeff Saturday is a Hall of Famer. Let me work on that.
Oh, let's go. CC.
CC getting a quick tweet in before he plays golf in Boca this morning.
He's got different weather than we have in New York.
Exactly
He's living his best life.
I wish I was down there. Okay, let's dive into the coaching carousel here because we have news this morning, Peter. The Buffalo opening with Josh Allen sitting there, obviously as desirable as it gets. What do we know?
It was quiet the first couple of days, and now we're getting some requests in here. Obviously, we've seen the notes that Brian Daboll has been requested to go there and interview for them, and that makes a lot of sense considering his history with Josh Allen, but also his Western New York background. He is a local native of the Buffalo area. Two other names. Lou Anarumo has been asked to go interview, and Anthony Lynn, who was with the Washington Commanders this past year and has a history with Buffalo. He, too, will be interviewing. I will just add this really quickly. At 10 a.m. today, there is a press conference, and it is Terry Pagula, and it is Brandon Beane, the general manager. And if you've read the local Buffalo news and the Buffalo media, the move that Beane gets to stay and be promoted while McDermott is shown the door has not been received well by either the media or the local fan base. I would imagine a contentious, if not very watchable press conference at 10 a.m. and Brandon Beane will be up on the mic, and we'll see how those conversations go.
Yeah, the whole way that thing went down did not sit well with you.
It's dirty. Like, I mean, you think about one guy's getting promoted, and he was there. I mean, McDermott was there before him, right? They bring in, they do this thing together. If it doesn't go well, then let's show them both the door. If it's time to move, then everybody should move, because the roster that McDermott just got fired for was not good enough. Like, whether you like it or not, if you're Mafias, they hate you for saying it. They weren't good enough. And so they didn't have a good enough receiving core. They're too injured on defense. They didn't have a good enough defense to stop people. Josh Allen, we talked about it every week, had to play like Superman. He played bad in the playoffs. Part of the reason why they lost, probably the largest reason why they lost. But to go put it all on the feet of Sean McDermott is absolutely ridiculous. And so when I see guys who are getting promoted or getting more, and you're the coach who's got to come in and work under this guy, you don't think you're cautious? He just watched his boy get canned and got promoted. It's dirty, man.
You're a lot more likely to have success if the interests are aligned for the GM and the coach. And one of the things that happens is when a coach gets fired, normally the whole staff gets fired.
Right.
One of these things that we've created this division between coach and front office that I don't necessarily like.
Exactly.
Like, the incentives are not completely aligned. There's a guy in the GM, and not this case specifically, but all cases, we see it happen more often that the coaches get fired. The GM has a closer relationship with the owner almost all the time. The GM is up there talking to him
while the game is going on,
right,
talking to the owner, watching
so, like,
the head coach.
I think that it's a lot easier for the ownership to look at the GM and understand that we're more alike. Yeah, it's them messing it up. Right. And I'm not going to throw myself under the bus, so I think that we should move more to a world where everybody got to go. Because I don't want you here trying to convince me that it's somebody else.
I'm not defending Brandon Beane here, but we've seen this with Joe Shane staying when Daboll goes. Like, this seems to be that the GM gets a chance to maybe pick his coach, because he did come in after McDermott. So now they're going to give Brandon Beane this opportunity. Obviously, the spotlight will be on him. I will add this. Everyone loves McDermott. And the fact of the matter is, 9 years, and the average that they gave up on defense was 31.5 points in those playoff games. And they were always top 5, top 10. So we could pick this apart a million ways. I believe that in this case, the owner felt confident that Brandon Beane could still draft and select players, and that they just need a new voice in that.
So wait, let me just get my backstory. I was a columnist in Buffalo for the Buffalo News when McDermott and Beane were hired that year. So I've seen Sean McDermott go from a hard ass walking in the door saying no ping pong tables, like we are doing this, like it's this. And over the years, he had softened. He showed more of, I'm a player's coach, the DeMar Hamlin situation, how he showed love and how he protected his players, the poise that he showed in those critical moments, the blizzard, the deadly blizzard where he's picking up guys, rescuing them from their houses. That said, in that building, it may have been a shock to a lot of us, but in that building, over the years, they felt like, you know, and even outsiders watching the Bills, when you watch the Bills in these high-pressure moments, it felt like they were tight. It felt like they just could not get over the hump. And at some point, owner Terry Pagula looks at it and says, The reason we can't get over the hump is that guy, unfortunately.
I mean, I guess my point generally is not about this specifically. I'm not in that building. It's just an overarching point that we see happen time and time again. I hate it. If we are a team, everybody get your ass out.
Right.
You don't get to tell me that I'm doing my part, but he's not doing his part.
Right.
Change it. We'll fix it. That's what I just don't like, how the incentives are not aligned.
Agreed.
And they're not motivated for everyone to achieve. Like on a football team, we feel very differently. I'm not out there like hoping that somebody else can mess up so I can say, oh, the D-line wasn't getting enough pressure. Like, no, we all succeed if we win. If we don't, we all got to go.
And let's talk about Bean, right? Like, how many Pro Bowlers has he had since Josh Allen?
2. He's drafted 2 since they drafted
So this ain't Howie Roseman. This ain't a guy who's making moves left and right that's just bringing in. Since Stephon Diggs left, tell me a receiver who's even touching a, quote, 1. No. Ain't nobody
They drafted Keon Coleman with the hope that he would be that.
But drafted Shakir.
And he pulled off the trade that he was criticized for getting Stephon Diggs. And that ended up helping Josh Allen kind of turn everything around. So.
But at some point,
they've had a lot of success, so you can give in this time period. So there's lots of reasons to be appreciative for both of those coaches. But I think the decision, or both of those people, Bean and McDermott. But when you get to the end of it, that's the hard part. No one's upset about. I think we're just more bothered by trying to put it all at McDermott's feet.
Can I add a little thing? So just into that building right now, I do believe Josh Allen's going to have a voice in who the next head coach is. So already you're seeing Brian Daboll's name being mentioned. They had a lot of success. Another name would be Joe Brady, who is the guy who he had the last few years. I would also throw in Davis Webb, and this might be just too much of a leap, but those are best friends. Davis Webb, I believe, is a groomsman in Allen's wedding. We're talking about Josh Allen and Davis Webb. Yes, and Davis Webb was is on the Denver staff, but he was the backup to Josh Allen for 3 years in Buffalo. And by the end of it, his 3rd year with Buffalo, he was actually running quarterback meetings at times in the room.
Can I say this? Because, again, everything that we're thinking right now is going to Josh Allen, right? Yeah. Like, Josh Allen, if you look at the last 2 years, hasn't been what he was 3 years ago, right? Like, numbers have gone down from the 2 years.
The MVP last
I understand that, but I'm just saying, as you're looking at like numbers, right? If all we're going to do is build around Josh Allen, we have a whole other side of football that we're giving up 31 points when it matters.
Right.
It's really hard to score 32 every freaking week. Josh Allen can't do more than he's doing. If he plays at the same level, you can go win a championship with him right now. Fix the other part. Stop worrying me to death about the offense. Whoever his offensive coordinator is, he's a really good player. He'll be just fine.
Kmart knows this. 10 a.m., I'm telling you, Brandon Beane, he doesn't just sit there and take, he will bite back. So I am excited for this press conference.
It's going to be cinema.
And it will be theater.
I mean, he bit back this offseason. It was made to look silly when he was saying, like, we got enough receivers, and it's clear that Josh Allen had a career high in taking sacks in part because they didn't have the Stephon Diggs. They didn't have the one guy that you know that you could get rid of the ball in that spot all the time. So every roster is going to have holes in it, but that's a very big hole when you have a player that's as exceptional as Josh Allen.
All right, let me get one other note in here. Ash, let's go to the Charger one, right? So I think this is an interesting one. Another coaching domino dropped, and you had sort of foreshadowed that something like this might happen, that as guys like Mike McDaniel were interviewing for head coaching jobs, there were also these offensive coordinator jobs that might be, in some ways, even more appealing a step. And McDaniel has taken that. He becomes the Chargers offensive coordinator, so he will become Justin Herbert's coach under Jim Harbaugh. Let's talk through that one.
Mike McDaniel is giving them the word that if I don't get one of these other jobs, which is Baltimore more or less, where he is continuing, I will be your offensive coordinator. And I thought this was interesting last week when everyone was doing like flips over the head coaching jobs, but you had Philadelphia open as an offensive coordinator job, Tampa Bay, obviously here in Los Angeles, and then also Baltimore and Pittsburgh. If they hire defensive coaches, well, then you can have an OC job there, or Buffalo as well. The offensive coordinator position, to be with a Justin Herbert or to be with a Jalen Hurts or to be with a Baker Mayfield, in a lot of ways was more attractive to some of these top offensive minds than taking the Cleveland job where we don't know who the quarterback is, or the Miami job, or the Arizona job, which are head coaching jobs. In this case, Mike McDaniel goes to LA where we were laughing about it. I cannot wait for the meetings between Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel. That's just personality.
And Justin Herbert.
But you add to this, his wife is from the Southern California area, and this position maybe not as coveted as a head coaching job in other years, But with the landscape of how the league is right now, you better get a quarterback if you want to have success. And
he can wear those pants in the warm
weather,
right? He's
joggers.
Comfortable and all that kind of stuff. I love it. This to me is smart.
This is great. This is the.
You only get 2 cracks at this thing.
Yes.
So if you jump right back into a bad head coaching job, you're going to get fired and you'll never get another job.
Which is the problem.
Yeah, and you're going to a place. Great offensive line, and they were injured. You're going to have a great offensive line. You have a head coach who wants to run the ball, take the air out of the ball a little bit, who's a quarterback, which is unheard of. He wants to protect you as a coordinator. So, like, if you're going to look like a freaking rock star. Like, this ain't perfect. And no pressure. Like, L.A., like, you ain't got, come on. Like, Philly or L.A., you want to go listen to Philly bash you week in and week out, or you want to go to L.A. where we talk about him 3 times a year?
Because in Philly, all eyes would be on that offensive coordinator. That guy who gets hired. I think this is genius by McDaniel because we've seen some other coaches jump right back in the fray. John Harbaugh jumping back into the fray. Yeah. If he doesn't have success here, that's another one.
We're going to get to
about that soon.
We're going to get to that. The Baker Mayfield, Kevin Stefanski stuff.
It's a tease.
Rich, final thought on this.
I love him going out there, to your point. I think it wouldn't have been as comfortable. He can't wear his Gucci monogram capris in Philly and not produce. That's not going to work. No. Out in L.A., you can pull that off. And I think he's, to Jeff's point, he wants to run the ball. They have an offensive line. They have a coach who wants to run the ball. And they have a quarterback that we all know is super talented, but is yet to meet his full potential. Like, he's a hero if he goes out there and outperforms with that situation.
All right, coming up, Mel's going to join us live. Mel Kiper, fresh off the press